Welcome back to day 11 of the course in Mastery. Today, Tom Wood is going to cover the power of influence and give you steps to follow in order to be more influential when you communicate with people. Then, one of my personal favorites, Jim Stovall, is going to tell you a heart-gripping story of the person who has influenced him most.
Would you like to be able to convince your spouse that you are right every time? Would you like your boss to listen and act upon your ideas? Every idea. Would you like people to give you money and feel great about it? Would you like your kids to listen to you with attention and discipline? Might sound impossible, but these results come from studying and mastering the power of influence. The last 2 days we've gone over building rapport and building a network. Today we're going to give you the skill of influence to help you do whatever you want with that network. Influencing people is not just about communicating. Influencing people is communicating with people so that they take action. The Greek orators, Demosthenes and Cicero, were famous for their ability to speak. But Cicero had something that Demosthenes didn't. Cicero had the ability to influence. It was said that when Demosthenes spoke, people got excited. And when Cicero spoke, people went to war. Today I'm going to show you how to speak, how to communicate with the power and influence of Cicero. You're going to learn how to communicate so that people take action. Get out your journal and pen. You're going to want to take notes on this. You're also going to want to put these principles into action. Action creates results. It creates learned behavior. Here's my quick list, my super simple strategy for influencing people. Are you interested enough to write this down? You're going to want to remember this. Step number 1, build rapport. Write that down, build rapport. Building rapport is building trust, consciously and unconsciously. Remember, this is a skill that you've got to master. You've got to study this over and over again. Before you can influence anybody about anything, you must have rapport. Step number 2, discover and listen. You've got to ask questions so you understand people and where they're coming from. You can't give somebody directions on a map if you don't know where they're starting from. You've got to find out where they start from, and you've got to listen with genuine interest. That's number 2. Step number 3, expose the problem. People take action to solve a problem. We clean the car when it's dirty. We go buy food when we're hungry. We listen to music when we need to escape. Finding out what the problem is and exposing it is the first step in creating that need, that desire to take action. Expose the problem. Step number 4, expose the solution and make it simple. People will not take action if they're confused. You've almost got to make it step by step clear how your solution will solve their problem, and they've got to feel like they can do it. This is one of the biggest problems orators make when trying to influence people. When you give a solution, it's got to be simple. Number 5, appeal to emotions. All action comes down to emotion. Some people say that emotion is energy in motion. Facts tell. Stories sell. If you want to create emotion, tell stories. Cicero knew the value of stories. He created emotion. That emotion created action. And finally, number 6, you must ask for action. You have to have the confidence to ask people to take action. Like a waiter that's not connected to the outcome when he asks or she asks, do you want some coffee? You've got to ask like that. Are you ready to take action? Great. Let's get started. In my study of excellence, all great influencers use these 6 principles, and there are many more. A book that I highly recommend is a book by Robert Cialdini called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Now comes my call to action. Today, I'd like you to take these 6 principles and put together a plan to influence somebody for something, anything, but use all 6 principles. You will learn so much by planning out with these 6 principles. While you do it, have fun. We'll see you tomorrow.
Today's expert, Jim Stovall, is someone that I consider to be one of our most influential speakers. Despite being faced with total blindness, he has gone on to become a National Olympic weightlifting champion, an Emmy Award winner, the co-founder and president of Narrative Television Network, as well as a world-renowned speaker and author. In this next clip, he tells the story of the person who has influenced him most, and he's not someone you would normally expect. This story really touched me the first time I watched it, and it definitely influenced me. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
And one of the questions I've been asked more than any others, Jim, out of all the people you've met, the movie stars, the athletes, the politicians, who has impacted your life the most? And there is one guy that's impacted my life more than any other, and I kind of want to introduce you to him as I close today. When I was 17 years old, I was getting ready to go to college, and as many of you remember, one of the things you have to do when you go to college is fill out a lot of paperwork. They want to know everything about you. And part of this paperwork required you to get a physical exam. Now, when I was 17, I couldn't imagine, why do I got to get a physical exam to go to college? Now that I'm on the board of several universities, I understand. You see, they want to make sure you're healthy so you don't die before you pay off your student loans. That's right. It's very important to colleges and universities today. Well, part of this physical exam they wanted me to get had this little card attached to the bottom of it that said routine eye test. Never forget that, the routine eye test. So I take it into our family eye doctor, and you guys know how it works. They put the drops in your eyes, and they shine the light in there, and you read the chart. And I was about ready to go when a second doctor comes in, and he puts his drops in there and shines his light in there, and I had to read his chart. And then a third guy shows up, and he ran a couple of more tests. And then the three doctors kind of had a huddle over in the corner. They were talking about this. And finally, the three doctors took me down a long hall, and they sat me down, and they said, Jim, we're not sure why, and we're not sure when, but we do know that someday you're going to be totally blind, and there's not one thing we can do about it. And your whole world just stops. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just went into my famous denial phase. I just acted like it was never going to happen because I couldn't deal with it. You ever know anybody, they can go about 80 miles an hour straight toward a brick wall and they act like nothing bad is ever going to happen in their life? Well, that was me. Had a marvelous capacity for burying my head in the sand, so I just went on to college. Now, near where I went to college, there is a school for blind children. And to this day, I don't know what my motives were. I don't know if I was trying to make a deal with God or help out or learn more about it or what. But I went over to this school for blind children, and I met with the principal. And I said, look, I'm 17 years old. I have no background, no training, no experience in working with blind kids, but I'd like to teach here. Well, you can imagine how excited they were to see me. Oh, yeah, here's the guy we've been looking for right here. But they did say, Jim, if you're really serious about this, we do have one kid you can kind of work with one-on-one. Well, I said, I was kind of thinking of having my own class, actually. And they said, Jim, you either work with this one kid or you get out of here. I said, okay, what do I teach this kid? And they said, Jim, that's just it. Christopher is 4 years old. He's totally blind. He has a lot of other physical problems. And we have determined that he's never going to grow or learn or advance or develop any more than he already has. So what we want you to do is keep him quiet and keep him away from the other kids so at least they can learn their lessons, because Christopher will never learn any more than he already has. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you ever forget that we always live up to the expectations we have of ourselves, or those expectations that we allow other people to place upon us. Thank you.